Good afternoon. US President Donald Trump's war with higher education continues, with some of the biggest names in the country caught in his crosshairs. The US Department of Education has tried to limit the stress on diversity and gender equity, calling for specific universities to submit to review by the government. Among these names are some of the nation's top-rated Ivy League universities, including Columbia and Harvard, whose president fought interference by the administration. I'm James Watson, and this is Across the Pond, where we throw light on the issues and break down the stories in US politics that matter. In a latest measure, several top institutions have been asked to sign a government compact that would give the administration more control over admissions, teaching, and curriculum structures. Notably, MIT rejected the offer, citing that it did not want to cede control. However, other universities such as Brown and Dartmouth are considering the measure. The interest in changing how higher education works for Trump and his cabinet stems from a conservative political playbook called Project 2025. The architect of Project 2025, Russ Vought, says, in simple terms, that liberal ideology needs to be stripped from universities. So far, the Trump administration have tried to do this by targeting the administration process and getting involved in university staffing.
DC universities are very politically
Yeah.
active and very aware of what's going on pretty much at all times, because we do have such strong student bodies and such strong presidents of our universities that really don't allow that kind of regulation to occur or really like nip it in the bud.
However, the administration's actions here have not been without rebuttal. In April, over 200 universities signed a declaration decrying government interference in university policies. Since that time, Trump's White House has tried to pick off certain universities which feel like they are more likely to give in. The threat of withholding funding for federal research grants has put leading universities at a loss. This was notably seen with Columbia University, who was swayed to change policies with the threat of federal funding cuts.
So honestly, I think the government should not be able to control people's free speech. And I think it also works both ways. Like people should be allowed to say what they want, obviously under some regulations, but now things are just getting out of hand.
In his second term, Donald Trump has doubled down on reshaping higher education by framing universities as battlegrounds for what he calls patriotic education. This involves pushing federal pressure onto institutions seen as too liberal or resistant to conservative ideology. Russ Vought, director of the Office of Management and Budget, is now seen as a key architect of Trump's ideological agenda. Through his policy network, Vought has been driving the idea that federal funding should be conditional, only awarded to universities that align with conservative cultural values, and clamping down on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs that enforce what Trump's camp describes as viewpoint neutrality.
I don't think Trump being like, we're going to take away money unless you get rid of DEI and doing all the other stuff is a solution to a failing institution. It's two failing institutions telling each other what to do. And that doesn't really solve any problems, in my opinion.
In future, more proactive legal action may be needed to curb imposition from the government. The government has asked universities to fall in line, and a fortifying conservative presence will make universities consider how they think and act in the run-up to 2028. With US universities now at the mercy of Donald Trump's administration, they'll have to measure their policies in relation to Trump's actions. Until next time.